What's up, everybody? Welcome to the For Students podcast. It's me, Ed, and everybody's favorite, Kelly. So pumped to be here. We're back in the studio again after this long hiatus. We came back in 1 week. This is our second one that we filmed.
And I've missed it. I don't know.
I
was about to say we've missed it. I don't want to speak for you.
No, you can speak for me.
I have missed it.
I have too.
This
is one of my favorite parts of our job, is getting
same.
to do this. And today you'll see why we love this, but getting the chance to sit down specifically, and I love when we speak to our adults. Our mental health professionals that come in are remarkable, amazing human beings. Mm-hmm. But these students that people recommend to us and that we then get to sit down and chat with, I mean, I guess that's why we work with students, right? We love being with students. And so this person that you're going to hear from today, her story is amazing. Like anything that you would say just right off the bat. So it's not just me chatting like always.
I mean, the whole time she's talking, I was just engaged and locked in because I didn't know what she was going to say next.
Yes, me either.
Like not even just like the bigger chunk of her story that we really get into, but like even growing up and how many things she's involved in and what her interests are. The whole time I was just like, wow, that's so interesting. Like she's just a really interesting and engaging person.
She really is. And it's funny because we said, I feel like there needs to, as she's leaving the studio, we said,
oh yeah,
I think there needs to be a part two to this because we kind of jumped from 7th grade, fast forward almost through all of high school.
There's more we
definitely
can dig in there for.
I think. But you're going to hear from Jackie Rao. She's a senior at a high school here in Charlotte. Incredible young woman with an amazing story. And just before even, because you'll hear there's this very, very tragic thing where she explains how she and her sister and her dad lose her mom. And we didn't know this part of her story, but just her upbringing, even everything leading up to that, all these different cultures coming together to make her who she is.
It's like my favorite part.
I know, it was amazing. And the fact that, she's been taking piano since she was 5
from the same Russian
piano teacher, this Russian grandma. And so I don't know, there's just so many really, really beautiful parts to her story that make her so interesting. And it was really cool too, because both of us have been around her a little bit over these past couple of years. She is on our lead team for this organization, the part of our organization called Students for Students. It's our small group, part of our org. Yeah, student-led small group program where students lead small groups on high school campuses. Where juniors and seniors, we train them to facilitate groups of freshmen and sophomores to create these spaces of belonging so that freshmen and sophomore on campus feel welcome. They feel like, oh, I have people that are looking out for me. I have people in my corner that are older than me. I can ask them questions about what teachers are like. I mean, everything. It's just a beautiful program. I love it. And she has been part of that lead team. And so I've seen her around. We've talked some here and there, et cetera, but she's not a person that's going to hey, I want you to sit down and hear my story.
Right.
She's
not
fine.
Going to push herself to the front.
Yeah, she is fine just getting the work done.
Yes.
And even from the background. And so that makes her a remarkable individual. That type of humility is unique.
It is.
But yeah, it's just an incredible thing. I can't wait for everybody to hear it.
She's got a great story.
She has a great story. So sit back. It's an incredible ride, and you will not regret listening to it, particularly those of you who have lost someone.
Yeah.
Even if you're experiencing grief right now, the things that Jackie talks about are so helpful. Of course, there's tears because I can't talk about something like this without crying, but it's about to be time well spent. So check out this interview with Jackie Rao. Jackie.
Okay,
Jackie, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's so good to have you on. And it's so fun to get a chance to just sit and just chat with you. Because I think that every time we're around you, either it's like a big student event at your school because our organization partners with your school and comes in and does events, or it's something like at maybe some leadership meeting because you help lead our Students for Students programming at one of our schools, and you're a big champion for that there. And we'll get into that because it's fun hearing about you going in and like marching into principal's offices or like sending emails, or whatever, and being like, this is important. We need to prioritize this. So we'll get into that because like it's so fun thinking about you championing that. But it's just fun to get a chance to get to know you and talk to you a little bit and hear your story and just kind of figure out who you are, because it's always been in the midst of all these other students. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you would just tell us a little bit, like, because you're a senior this year, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about like what are you into? What do you do with your free time that you really enjoy?
Okay. Well, I feel like for the most of high school I didn't have a lot of free time outside of like clubs, but I enjoy my clubs, so it's like fun to do. But now that like senior year has kind of come to like a slow, I've been able to do more of the things that I want to on my own time. Like I've always played piano since I was like 5 years old. So I've been keeping up with that, and then I play tennis. I don't play like I played for like my school, but I play with my sister a lot, so that's really fun. And then
younger sister, older
yeah,
sister?
Younger. She's
sister?
a freshman.
Okay, very
and so
cool.
we're very competitive too. Like,
yeah, that's close enough.
And I've always been better than her, but like recently she's been putting in a little bit more work than me because like she still has the rest of high school to play on teams. And so now it's actually starting to be more even, which makes it a little bit more competitive too. But yeah, so that's been fun. And then I have a dog, so I like to go on walks, which is kind of simple, but I love podcasts. We were talking about it earlier, but I love listening to podcasts on my walks, and that's been kind of new for me. And then yoga too. Like a lot of my friends do yoga, so it's like something we can all do together.
Yeah.
Which just makes it so fun. Like we go on the weekends or after school, and so
I love
really
that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you told me what podcast you listen to, and I won't say what it is yet because I'm wondering if it matches up with the club. So you mentioned all these clubs, etc.
Yes.
Now, did you end up doing things that were more resume builder and kind of, you know what I mean? Not necessarily
I know.
specifically for that reason, but I mean, were they more academically interested, clubs, or what kind of clubs were you involved in?
Honestly, most of them were like community based.
Oh,
like,
cool. Okay.
Students for Students, obviously.
Yes,
And then like Sisters program, I was on the leadership team for that.
Okay.
And
describe that real quick for people listening.
Yeah. So the Sisters program at Latin, that's where I go to school. It's basically where you have upperclassmen girls that are paired with freshmen, so that it's supposed to like ease the transition into high school. So they have like a big sister who they can basically just like talk to, and there's meetings once a month, and we get to like plan the events as like being on the leadership team for that.
Yeah.
So we have like a spill the tea event coming up where you basically just like talk to your sister, talk to other sisters. And that's really fun. And like my actual sister is a freshman. So like I just see her like wandering around, and like I'll end up talking to her like as a big sister, but also her real sisters. That's fun.
That is fun. Do they have a brothers program?
They do have a brothers program
cool.
too.
Cool.
Yeah, they do their own thing. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what they do, but I heard they like played poker one time.
Interesting.
I don't know.
And you guys don't in the sisters
I know,
program?
right?
That's weird.
I'm sure we could if we brought it up.
Sure, you could.
But yeah, they plan that separately. But
okay.
Yeah, so that's one thing. And then Jewish Culture Club, because I mean, I'm Jewish. So I got involved with that like sophomore year, and I've been leader of that since like junior year.
That's amazing.
And then HOSA is like the one club that's more on the academic side. It stands for Health Occupation Students of America.
Okay, HOSA.
So that is like where it's sort of starting to align more with like what I want to do in the future.
Okay.
And then through that we did like biomedical debate, and it's just like conferences and you go and debate.
Wow.
That's
There's
cool.
a lot of things right now to debate too, like the ethical stuff of all of these
like
things.
Actually last year the topic was like AI and healthcare, and a lot of that had to do with like ethics. This year it had to do with like influencers that are like on social media promoting certain things, and if that needs to be regulated. And then Blue Review, that's the literary and arts magazine, so I'm a lead layout editor of that.
Oh my God.
We're at 5.
Yeah. You've been counting? Because I haven't. I was literally about to go back and ask.
Well, yeah, I need to make sure that I hit them all. I
think you should. We want to hear all of them.
I feel like
this helps us understand you quite a bit.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I didn't mention this earlier, but I love to read and write. So that's like a way, and I also love to do art, and I've done art all through high school as my elective. So it's like been a good way that I can combine my love of reading and writing, and then also like art and then layout. It's just like really fun to be on that team because you get to like work with Photoshop and Adobe. What's called InDesign is like the platform we use, and so that's been fun over the past couple of years too.
That's amazing. So you truly are like a
Yeah.
poet, philosopher, queen. Like you are this scientist,
Like
truly
maybe.
Renaissance woman. Like no, this is incredible.
Own it.
The variety of all of it. And then you told me the podcast you enjoy listening to is Huberman Lab, which is
Yes.
this, this professor out of Stanford University, incredible, very much evidence science-based, like, stuff they talk about, bring on experts from all over. So that maps right on top of everything.
Mhm.
That makes so much sense. But the art, some of these things surprised me.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. I love that. Yeah.
Gotta keep them guessing.
No
Yeah.
kidding. Well, and it really does. I guess it kind of makes sense because hearing a little bit of your heart and this idea, also an interest in community and building the
Mhm.
culture at your school and making sure younger students feel they have a spot and they belong and people care about them. It kind of makes sense that your interest would be so wide, but that's really, really cool to hear. So you are graduating at, right now as we're recording this, it's like middle of April,
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah.
That means that you are what, 5 weeks away,
5 or
6
Yeah,
weeks?
36 days until graduation.
Oh my gosh. And is
Is
that
that-
36 days including weekends?
Including
Is that what you were
weekends.
gonna
I was
ask?
that's literally
Including every like all the way up until the day. 36
36
days.
36
days
days.
till you
Yeah.
walk across the stage.
What does that feel like?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of scary. I feel like at first we were like waiting for that countdown. Like when there were 100 days left, we're like, oh my gosh, it can't go any
100
faster.
days,
But
yeah.
like now that we're down to literally like the last month of school, it's starting to feel so sad because like our grade bonded so much in the last like 2 or 3 weeks. Like it was, I mean, we went on spring break together and then we
Right.
came back and it was like a whole new culture at school.
Mhm.
Like, especially now that the weather is better when it's like lunchtime or we have like little breaks throughout the day and everybody just goes out to the quad and plays spike ball and there's music playing and everybody just like laying
so
out in the sun
fun.
on the grass and it's just so much fun now.
Yeah.
And also like school work has decreased because of
Yes.
like
Sure.
senior year. I mean we have AP exams, but
Right. But,
but
you've
other
all
than
kind
that,
of, you
like
all
we
pretty
all
much know where you're going to school.
Right.
And so
and the stress has just decreased so much that
that's
Mhm.
amazing.
everybody's actually able to like connect with one another and it just makes it sad because
Why didn't we do this
why didn't we do
years
this earlier?
ago?
And
Oh.
everybody always says this, and I know that this is nothing new, but
Yeah.
to actually experience it actually is becoming kind of like bittersweet.
Mhm.
No, that's true. And explain to everybody
Totally.
listening, like this idea of everybody going this, because not everybody, because how
Yeah.
large is your class? Like how many
I think
students
it's like
are senior?
150 people.
Yeah, so it's a pretty
Yeah.
small school.
Yeah.
So 150 of you, and how many go on this spring break or went on this spring break trip this year?
I think around like probably around 100 because
Wow, so
which is
two-thirds.
normally it's just a lot more than normally
Yeah,
goes.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like our grade has always been pretty connected.
Mhm.
Like the administrators love to say that we're one of the best grades because we genuinely like care about one another and like cliques. Although I mean every school has
Sure,
cliques, but
Sure.
we're pretty good about like actually trying to see like meet people and get to know people on like a kind of a deeper level outside of your cliques and friend
Mhm.
groups. And so that just made it a lot easier for us to actually bond like over spring break and then we came back and now we're all kind of like one big happy family.
I know. It's
Aw.
so because we have been working with your school now. I think we're about to finish our 5th full school
That's
year
crazy,
of
yeah.
curriculum at your
Mhm.
school where we've been working with you guys. And I will say that this group, like your administrators are right, and they would know because they're with you every
Yeah.
day, obviously. But this group is particularly tight. And in years past, I have heard and talked to students, and it has been like 70, maybe 80 out of that 150 so students, like about half the class has gone on
Yeah,
that trip.
it was
And
definitely more
it's
than
like, yes,
that.
it's like 2/3 on this trip. So that speaks to
Wild.
you as a
Yeah.
group.
Mhm.
And I have said this multiple years as I've watched it happen and I've watched you all come back. As I have told students even beforehand, I'm like, this is what's about to happen. And I don't think I said this in an assembly with you guys, but I have said, here's what's about to happen. You're about to go on this trip, and some of you are going to start talking again to people that you were friends with, like in middle school, because your school is a K-12 school. So some people have been there for their entire like educational career. And, just that's the way life happens, right? In elementary school, you have friends, and then maybe it changes or whatever. I'm like, you're about to go on this trip. You're going to start connecting, like, oh my God, we haven't talked since like we were so close. And remember we were in dance class in 6th grade and all, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
all this. And then you reconnect with these people and you realize, I really enjoyed you. Why haven't we been talking all this time?
That definitely happened.
Yeah.
And then you come back and you only have a couple of months left with each other,
Yeah.
and then you have recreated and fostered this community.
Mhm.
And then it's so sweet. And then you're like, oh no, we did this at the very end. And I don't know.
I know. And like even with like we had prom last weekend and that was
Oh,
another like
yeah. You all
kinda
look so nice. I
last-
saw the social media
the
posts.
yeah, all of us posted. The last like prom and then we have like grad parties coming up
Yeah.
and then graduate like people are having their grad parties starting like this weekend, like
That's
or
wild.
next weekend, I think, because there's just like so
There's
many
so
people.
many of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
so, like,
smart,
yeah.
actually.
It's like
Literally.
every weekend and like once AP exams end, like even during the week, people are gonna start having grad parties, and like that's something to look forward to. But it's also sad because it's like marking the end of like all the moments that we have
Yeah.
left together.
Yeah. Before we move past this, because this
Mhm.
just feels like worthwhile. Like if you were to talk to ninth grade Jackie, right? And you were the big sister, right?
Yeah.
He is speaking to you as a freshman, and you had just experienced, let's say, the spring break trip and all these things had happened. What would you say to your freshman self that might be helpful for any kids, students listening, to be like, oh, that's actually decent to know now at the beginning of high school instead of hearing about I
Instead of
wish
at the
I
end.
had
Yeah.
Right.
at the end of high school.
It's hard to, like, know what we could have done earlier because all this sort of just, like, happened. Like, I don't know, nobody
Right,
really
right, right.
did anything to make us closer. Like, we kind of all like, it's not like they could have this trip freshman year, you know? Like, I
Sure.
don't know.
Mhm.
But also at the same time, like, I feel like it's worth it saying, like, just trust the process
Yeah.
because I feel like freshman year when you come in and there's so many new students and it's, like, really overwhelming because whether you come in new from another school or you
Right.
come in from middle school, like, it's just a completely new class. But, like, that class goes through so much together
Mm.
that, like, even over the years, like, you can really see, like, us getting closer as a grade. Like, I don't think that it was just, like, one snap moment. I mean,
Sure.
sure, spring break, but, like, even before that, like, our grade has always been kind of close. I mean, we had like the senior retreat in the beginning of the year, and even then we were already like so bonded from that moment. And so I guess just like even though the first half of maybe freshman year it's hard to like know who your friends are, like I didn't really find my quote unquote like friend group until like probably second half of sophomore year. Like it took
Yeah,
a
yeah, that
while.
makes
It
sense.
takes so long to like really see, the people that you want to spend time with and also at the same time like you're constantly meeting new people where it's really you just got to like kind of see where you go with it and whoever you meet, just like give them a chance because at the end of the day, like senior year, you're gonna be close with them anyways. Like
Yeah.
kind of
Like,
give them a
don't
chance.
close yourself off.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in other grades more so than our grade, it's been an issue where like friend groups just like close themselves off and like are
Mm.
purposefully exclusive. And I never really understood that because like the reason that our grade is such a quote unquote good grade is because we're so open to one another and we're actually nice people to one another.
Yeah, and investing in each other.
Right.
Is there anything that then you might say, because you have now it's come up multiple times, your grade really is different, and we have experienced it at
Yes,
these
Mhm.
we
events.
have.
We feel
Absolutely.
make us feel so welcome when we come
Yep.
on campus. So many students literally come out of the stands at the end of events and walk up and tell us thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
and that it
Yeah.
was
It's
helpful.
so cool.
And it's like, I don't know, as a communicator, as anybody who's trying to do something good to hear, right? That's just a really encouraging thing, and no one gets tired of being
Mhm.
encouraged. Why do you think your grade is so open to these other people? What have you think that you guys have done that maybe other grades could be like? Because someone may be listening who's a freshman or
Yeah.
sophomore
Like, how do I
and be
get
like,
that?
how do I want my grade to feel like
Yeah.
that?
Right.
What do you think you guys did?
Honestly, like, I mean, it's kind of been like this since middle school. Like, I remember coming in 7th grade, which was a weird year because Latin was doing like half one day in, one day hybrid, or one
Oh,
day
was this like
remote.
Oh, it
2020?
was
Yeah, it
like
was
2020.
2020, which was like
Oh,
a really hard year
geez.
for me. And
Yes, for
so,
Yeah.
everybody.
right. And so one day in and then one day out, like, it's really hard to really meet people. But for some reason, I feel like I just never remember there being a moment where I felt like alone, I guess.
Mm,
And I mean, I'm not a super like I wouldn't consider myself super extroverted. It wasn't like I was going out to like actively try to meet new people. I feel like people were more coming to me.
mm.
And I feel like I really appreciated that because
Sure.
it was I mean, also 7th grade is a point where not a lot of people come to Latin because it's like in the middle of middle school.
Mhm.
And so I really appreciated that at the time. And I feel like just in general, like our grade has sort of carried that sort of like idea throughout high school as well. Like being the person to actively try to like include other people and like meet new people. Because I mean, I think it's harder to be the person that's trying to like if you're the new person and trying to meet new people, it's harder to
For
Yeah.
kind
sure.
of like make those connections,
Mhm.
especially when there's already established groups. But like if you're in that group and you're able to, extend a hand and try to meet new people, I feel like that's the best.
So maybe that's a good thing that came out of COVID. People were craving interaction maybe,
Yeah.
and
Maybe.
they were like willing to kind of push away some of the awkwardness and the uncomfortable feeling and like go talk to people so that they could have people in their corner and friends and stuff.
Maybe that's
Maybe that's what
maybe that's
happened.
it, or maybe
Yeah,
that's part of
I
it. Yeah.
honestly don't know like why though. I feel like our grade has just always been like even in 8th grade when we were graduating, like the head of our middle school was like we're so sad to see you guys leave because you guys have been such a great like leadership you're a grade that's been great with leadership is
Yeah.
basically what they were
Well,
saying.
it's funny because we also see that now because I
Mhm.
look at the leadership team of even just students for students at your school right now. And there's all of this senior representation, all these senior small group leaders, et cetera. And then the class right behind you, the
Yeah.
juniors, it's been hard to find those individuals that
Yeah.
want to invest in, the freshmen and the sophomores and lead these groups. And for whatever reason, and it's interesting, it's like, okay, was there just this so happened to be just enough of these outgoing, other-centered people in your grade that started to create this culture, and then it
Mhm.
kind of became this snowball, because
Yeah.
and then does that leave a leadership vacuum? Does that accidentally create a leadership vacuum at the grade right ahead of you? Has all of these incredible outgoing, leaders who are willing to step up and, and sacrifice and make decisions to help others.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just an interesting dynamic because
Yeah.
I'm
And
very
it's
curious what's going to happen next year with Students for Students.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about is how the junior leaders, I mean, they're great, but there's just
Yes.
not as many of them, I
Yes.
feel like, as there
Yeah.
are in our grade.
Yeah. So juniors out there, we need you to
If you
step
love other
up.
Yes.
Yes, if you love other people, we need you to step up and start.
Please.
Yeah, and lead people and
Yeah.
lead these groups to help these freshmen and sophomores feel, more welcome. But no, that's just cool. I appreciate you taking a second for us to kind of think through that a little bit.
Mhm.
I wonder over time if we'll land on more answers or if time will kind of share or show, but just really cool to watch this group. And you guys do have so many individuals. In fact, others that have been on this podcast. I think
Yeah.
about Walker,
Yeah.
even who's been on here. Walker is a force for good. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like,
And
he
it's people
really
like
is.
him who really like set the tone for our grade too,
Yeah.
because so many people look up to him. And just in general, like all the leaders on the Students for Students like lead team at Latin, I feel like are looked up to so much that whatever is done like by those people
Yeah.
that it really sets a precedent for the rest of the grade.
It sure does. Yeah. And it has. And
It has.
you're
It's
going
cool.
to be a very tough group to follow for sure. Despite the fact that I know several of the leaders in junior class. I'm not saying there's none, because there's some
Yes.
amazing people that you
There
guys have
are.
recruited that are already on board and are helping, and I've spent time with, and they're fantastic. We just need more people like them, for sure. So this is interesting. So for people who don't know Charlotte and don't know your school, and we don't even need to talk about the name anymore or whatever, but this idea even of a high performing preparatory school that, is doing everything it can to raise the bar and create this intrinsic drive, and everyone wants to be excellent. And you really are, it's tough to be number one, to become valedictorian at a school like yours and all of that. And can't imagine what that's like, this battle for excellence and to be well-rounded. But certainly that's not the only reason that Jackie is this person who listens as a high school senior to, to the Huberman Lab podcast, and is, how many clubs did it end up being?
5.
5
Yeah.
clubs, and like
Plus
leading
sports.
plus sports and all of this stuff. So, I mean, speak to like what makes you you, and maybe we'll just start with just your family. Like, is your family high performing? And tell us just a little bit about growing up. What was it like? What's it like in the Rao family?
I mean, my dad, he went to Latin actually.
Oh, no way. So, okay,
yes.
Charlotte native
Really?
family.
Yes.
Okay, legacy fam.
Exactly. And he went to UNC, which is where I'm going. So
Oh,
I'm kind
so
of
you're going
following
to
in his
Chapel
footsteps.
Hill.
I
No
am going
kidding.
to Chapel Hill.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, I mean, my dad is somebody who definitely like he cares about school and stuff, but he's never really pressured either me or my sister, which a lot of my motivation like comes from within. Like I'm definitely a person who puts pressure on myself, which sometimes it can definitely be too much because I've overloaded myself in the past.
Yeah.
But I've been working on that and trying to balance and figure out what I actually enjoy doing. But yeah, a lot of like the idea of like high performing and like high achieving like comes from myself. And then it's the same for my sister. Like she's also one of those people that's her motivation comes from herself. And then my mom, she actually was from Russia.
Okay.
And she immigrated to America. And so she had a completely different upbringing than me, my sister, my dad. But she also definitely never pressured us. And she really encouraged us to be creative, which is where I feel like a lot of my creative side and why I've tried to keep up with art over the years because it meant so much to her. And same with piano. She told me like that I can't quit piano until after I graduate, which is why I've kept up with my piano lessons.
Awesome. That's
and
awesome.
My piano teacher only speaks in Russian, so it's made me be able to keep my like Russian side and try to remember how to speak in Russian when
that's so cool.
when I've
That's
been
really,
less
really cool.
maybe exposed to it recently.
Yeah. And so Was this your piano teacher? You said you started learning piano when you were 5 years old.
Yeah.
Have you had the same
I
piano teacher this
have.
whole
It's
time?
the same. Yep.
Oh my
Same. She's the
gosh.
same one.
What's her name?
Her name's Irina Nikolaevna.
Of
Yeah, it
course,
is.
yes.
She's pretty
Irina
tough, but
Nikolaevna.
Irina Nikolaevna, she's pretty tough.
Yeah, I would think.
But I
Stare.
feel like recently she's been a little bit more lenient because it's my senior year.
She's like, okay.
So she's
fine.
like, if I don't I will tell her I'll practice, and she can immediately tell that I have not practiced. And
Yeah.
she's like, it's okay, like we'll get there eventually.
Oh.
But I love her. She's basically like a grandma, but like
Yeah.
a little bit tougher.
Got it.
Yes, a Russian grandmother.
Yeah, and I have a real one too.
A real
yes,
Russian grandmother. Yes, you do.
She lives in Brooklyn, but
Oh, that's amazing.
we get to see her a lot, especially recently. So.
Okay, how about your
Cool.
dad's side of the family? Do his parents are they still here in Charlotte?
Yeah, my dad's parents actually immigrated from India, and
Oh, okay.
they live in Charlotte. They live in
Okay.
South Park, so pretty close to Latin.
Yep.
They've lived in the same like house. I mean, they updated their house, but it's the same house as when my dad lived there.
Oh,
So,
wow, that's cool.
so
Wow.
yeah, they have not really changed much in the past like 45 years. But yeah, I get to see them a lot, which is nice.
That's
That is
awesome.
nice. And this is amazing. What a blend of
I
cultures.
Oh, that's
You
so
have
cool.
Indian, Russian, and then Jewish in
Jewish.
there
And
as
then my
well.
grandparents are Hindu.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I've got a lot going
Yes,
on
no
there.
kidding. This mosaic of
It's
humanity.
really, really cool.
That is really cool. How does, I mean, this is probably too complex, but could you simply say, or did you notice anything about how that has shaped you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's definitely shaped me because
Yes.
there's obviously like the typical like, oh, what box do I check on like
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
like for college
Oh, yeah, that's
applications.
Yes,
and,
yes.
I mean, that's like pretty typical, but yeah, just in general, I mean, I feel like
So which box did you check?
I mean, I just click them both.
That's
There you go.
awesome.
There's an option that you can click multiple, so I just click
Okay.
multiple. But yeah, I feel like just in general, I mean, it's harder for me to connect with like actually, I don't even know. Sometimes I feel like it's harder to connect with my like Indian side of the family just because culturally, I grew up more like Russian Jew because
Mhm.
my dad, he grew up in Charlotte and he's very like Americanized.
Sure.
And so because of that, like I feel like culturally I align more with like Russian Jew, but also at the same time, like I look more Indian. And so
Mhm.
when people see me, like they kind of just assume the Indian side of me. So it's easier to like when visually like align with that more.
Sure.
But then after my mom passed away, a lot of like the culture in my house, like the food and like the traditions that we had when it came to like Shabbat dinners,
Mm.
and then just like the soups that she would make or like the pastries she would make, a lot of that went away.
Sure.
And although my grandma, my Russian grandma, she came down to Charlotte for a really long time and she still goes back between Charlotte and Brooklyn, but she did try to like fill that obviously a little bit with like her own food. And I mean, you know, she'd speak to us in Russian and stuff, but it's
Okay.
just not the same when it's not something you really experience every
All the
single
time.
day.
Yeah.
So it kind of got harder for me to hold on to that. And like I said, I mean, I play piano to try to hold on to like speaking
Yeah.
Russian regularly. And
Mhm.
like my grandma still cooks that type of food, like Russian food.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot harder, I feel like, to hold on to now that my mom's not here to really like expose us to it every day.
Certainly.
Mhm.
So that's obviously shaped like how I identify myself. And like, I mean, when it comes to like Hinduism as well, like my grandparents are very religious. They are heavily involved in like the temple and like we'll go like once or twice a year just to go with them. But
Mhm.
when it comes to like religion, me and my sister are neighbors, like / family friends, Torah read once a week. And so we joined in on that like 5 or 6 years ago, back when when my mom was still alive, because that was something that she wanted us to do. And so we kept up with that and we still do that every week. And so like that paired with like the Hindu temple, you know, it's sometimes it's hard to like choose. And I don't want to say I've chosen a religion or anything, but like I do align myself with like Judaism a lot more. And then Hinduism more as like a cultural thing just because of like how I've been exposed to it over the years.
But my gosh,
So interesting.
all these different sensibilities coming together too.
Mhm.
And what that just does to a person as far as just awareness and probably an introspection even about, from what perspective am I considering this? And just a willingness perhaps to see things without even realizing it from other perspectives.
Mhm.
Um,
An appreciation for other cultures.
Yes,
Yeah,
without
definitely.
question.
Very
That's
easy
something
for
I'm
you
very
to
grateful
Yeah.
for. Is like
Yeah.
I'm very open, I feel like, to learning different cultures and
Mhm.
religions just because of how I mean, how many I'm a part of. Like,
yeah. Well, I just think about me growing up in Florida and living, out in Colorado for a little while, and I just have some regional awareness. It's like I'm still very American centric because I haven't had to exist in really a blending of too many other cultures. But I was just talking with my daughter today, and she was talking about this TED talk that she heard, and I had said something, and what she said something about, if you had watched that conversation from like the behind this girl I was just talking to, it would have looked like I'd gotten ignored. And then she just offhandedly said, the danger of one story or something like that. The danger of one story. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, it was just this TED talk that we had to watch in this class. And it was all about how many mistakes we can make when we only consider something from one perspective. And it was just, I don't know, I was like, I love that. I need to go watch this TED talk.
Yeah.
But just there's no danger of that with you because you were constantly not having to, I guess you just were, experiencing the world through different perspectives. That's really, really cool. And this is you speak to this however much you want to, but obviously there are probably big moments throughout your life growing up that help make you as well. You just mentioned that your mom passed, and I'd love for us to talk about that if you're willing to. But before she passed, how old were you when she passed away? And then talk about life up to that point, because there had to be all these, memories that you have.
Yeah. My mom passed away when I was in 7th grade. So like I said, that was the year I started Latin and like the everyday, like every other day sort of thing.
Okay.
She passed away in December. So it was December 25th, Christmas. So I was 12 years old.
Christmas Day.
Yes. And I can like go into that whole story.
Okay.
It's kind of wild.
If you're willing to, but anything leading up to that as well.
Let's just go chronological.
Okay. Love it. That would be great.
But yeah, growing up, it was like me, my sister, she's very close in age, and then my dad and my mom. I was born in Charlotte, so.
Okay. How did they meet, by the way, your mom and dad? Like this, thinking about this Russian.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. So my mom when she immigrated to America, she was living in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And then both my dad and mom were doing residency in New York City.
Okay, both physicians?
They're both dentists.
Dentists,
yes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So they met in residency in New York. And then after that, they just kind of hit it off. And then my dad proposed, and then after they finished their residency, they came back to Charlotte.
Which was his hometown.
Which is his hometown,
that
yes.
Makes sense. Any particularly dental stories around his proposal?
No,
did anything
but
specifically with teeth?
No, he proposed in my like grandma's apartment, and our dog. She actually like only just passed away last year. She was very old. She was literally like 19 years old. But my dog, one of them, was there, and I guess they were scared that I think he like dropped it, and he thought that she ate it or something. So that like just took away from the romance of the whole
suddenly
moment.
The rings dropped and they think it's
now
gone.
Everything's
urgent. So
yes. Now we're sifting through dog poop for weeks to try and get this engagement ring back.
And I mean, this dog, like, she lived so long. Like, she didn't even have, like, we eventually had to put her down just because she was really just struggling with life. But yeah, we love her. And so she's been in my life, obviously, for like the past 17 like years.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so growing up, we had like a lot of animals growing up because my mom, she grew up in Russia with a farm. So like she's always been used to like having a ton of animals. My dad grew up in South Park in Charlotte and had 0 animals growing up. So very different. But my mom was she really was intense in like appreciating nature. So we always had chickens growing up. Cats. Right now we just have one cat and one dog. But we had like 2 cats, 2 dogs, like over 15 chickens. We almost got bunnies.
Wow.
We have the hutch still in our backyard. But like growing up, I can't remember a moment in my childhood where like we didn't have chickens or like some kind of animal.
That's amazing. So your mom is deeply reflected in culturally, like the meals, it sounds like the soups, all this stuff, as well as the, this kind of environment. Yes, the physical environment. Just really quickly, stereotypically, I've never thought about this, but is it stereotypically like, do Indian families have many pets? In my head, I don't think they do.
I mean, like when we went to my dad and
not
my
that you can
sister
speak
and
for
I,
all Indian families.
Yeah, I know. Like I said,
it just occurred
I
to me.
honestly know
like,
so little about Indian culture. It's sad, but when we
Yes.
went to India like 2 years ago, a lot of people have like stray dogs that they kind of take in.
Sure.
But it's like not the same as having like
Right.
pets,
It's more like care for this animal
right,
that needs
exactly, and like
care.
cows are holy,
Yes, yes, yes,
obviously,
yes.
but
And
Yeah.
I
vegetarian,
think
a lot of them are
and so like
vegetarian.
they care a lot about animals and
Yeah.
like the soul and stuff.
I was
But yeah,
just
my
curious.
dad definitely
Fascinating.
he does not like animals. He's grown to like them obviously over the
Sure.
years, and
Sure.
like he always complains about our dogs. And we only have one now. Her name's Penny. She's like a little
Penny.
cavapoo,
Mhm.
and she like he loves her so much, and he hates to admit it, but like she's like his child, like a
That's
baby.
hilarious.
But yeah, so
That's
growing
funny.
up, we definitely had a lot of animals, and then my mom also had a huge garden, and we would plant like the wildest things, like watermelon and squash
Love
and
it.
like persimmons. We had like a raspberry and blackberry and blueberry bush. And then like when COVID happened, my great grandparents, they live in Brooklyn. They just passed away like within the last like 3 months. They're
Oh,
really old, and
wow.
they went through so much in their lives because like the Holocaust and
Yes.
stuff, and they lived in the Soviet Union as Jews. But they're the ones who had the farm in Russia. But when they came down during COVID, this is why I appreciated COVID so much, because my family was like all in one house together. It was
Wow. Yeah.
Mhm.
my mom, my sister, my dad, and then also my great grandparents, and then my grandma and my step grandpa. And like, I'm very grateful for these moments because obviously in December of 2020, my mom passed away unexpectedly.
Mm.
So the months leading up to that, when we were all cooped up in the house, I actually like, I'm so grateful for that
Yeah.
because we built so many memories. And physically, my great grandpa, who was 97 years old at the time, he built a chicken coop from scratch. And like, we would go biking with him because he loved to bike. And my great grandma, she would like peel onions and like plant them in the garden. And then she would like peel carrots, and then my grandma, my great grandma, and I, we all like made a quilt together, which I
Out of
still have.
carrots?
No, not out of carrots. I
Separate
kind of
story.
jumped. Separate
just-
story, but
I was
like
just
these were
being
all the
stupid,
things that we
sorry.
were
There's a
doing
comma.
at the time.
I was just joking. I
Comma.
was just joking.
Out
Sorry.
of carrots, no. And we got new chicks like that. We got new chicks in March, like right when COVID hit. So we were raising these chicks, and we were all outside, and it was
Oh
so
my
fun.
gosh, that's amazing.
So I'm
It sounds
really
amazing.
grateful for that part of
Yeah.
COVID because
So,
we bonded so much.
Go back to your great grandfather, like riding bike. What did
At
he have? A
97.
Oh, yeah.
trike, or did he
Oh,
have
no.
training
Oh,
wheels? Just
no.
a full-on
He-
regular bike.
He would bike in Brooklyn. He would bike all the way to like the airport and back, which was
Honestly,
like 20
I can't bike well.
miles from his house. Like
That's incredible.
something crazy.
That's
And
No
he
wonder
would
he lived to
swim-
97.
I know,
Yeah.
and he would swim in the ocean like almost every day. He would walk my great grandma on the boardwalk in Brooklyn on Brighton Beach. Like he was so active up until like the day he died. And
Wow.
I mean, he had cancer, which is eventually what got him, but
Yeah.
he lived such a full life, and like all of us just are so inspired by him still. And my
Certainly.
mom
It sounds
especially,
like
like
it, yeah.
he was probably like her favorite because her father passed away when she was young as well.
Okay. Okay.
So like he was like her father
did they end up
figure.
raising her, or like
Yeah, my
helping
great
raise her?
grandparents like lived with them in Russia, and then in Brooklyn they lived like 2 blocks down. So like
Yeah.
both of them, my great grandparents, were a very big part of her life, so they became such a great part of our life as well. But he's like genuinely one of the most inspiring people I know, and like the things he went through during World War II, and the things he went through immigrating, and then trying
Wow.
to assimilate to America. I mean, he never
Sure.
spoke English, but
Right.
he was just one of like the best people I know.
That's amazing. And in
so
that
cool.
borough, in that part of Brooklyn, were there a lot of Russian families?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. It's
Yeah.
just interesting if you know history, how people moved into
Mhm.
areas so they could be near people, you know,
Yeah.
their people, and continue to have community.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, so then all of you are crammed in. It's COVID, which for I know a lot of people was a really awful time. But like
Yeah.
COVID was great for us. Like our
Yeah.
family had a great experience with COVID. You guys are all together there. And then you said your mom passed, and I don't know this. I had know nothing about how
Oh,
you
really?
lost your
Oh.
mom.
This is
So-
gonna be definitely an interesting story then, because
Okay.
it's just so crazy. But I mean, like I said before, my mom loved nature, and she loved like hiking and biking, and we would go camping all the time in my childhood, and like mountain biking, like intense. And one of her high school friends was living in Costa Rica at the time. Like they like think it's called like expats.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
where-
yeah, yeah.
So they were staying like a year in Costa Rica, and so for Thanksgiving break, they invited my family and then like our cousins, my mom's sister, her kids as well, because we're really close with our cousins.
Okay,
So they're like
cool.
the same age as us. They're both girls. Like, so we all 8 of us, my family and their family, we went and visited them in Costa Rica over Thanksgiving break. And I've never seen my mom like more in love with the place. Like she
Mm.
absolutely loved it there because they lived they were living in a place called Nosara, which is
Okay.
like, it's not one of like the major cities of Costa Rica. It's like right on the coast. It's on the beach, and like everybody would just like bike places, and it's, the roads aren't paved or anything. And there's like animals everywhere. And my mom loved it so much there. She wanted to go back again 3 weeks later for Christmas break. But my dad, like, December is one of the busiest months for dentists just because everybody's on breaks. Everybody's getting their
Oh,
teeth cleaned
interesting.
and
I
fixed.
never.
Insurance, like right there
Oh,
at the
And
end of the
yeah, that's
insurance,
year.
right.
right.
Getting it all
So
in.
so my dad, he didn't like to travel over Christmas break because it was such a big work week for him and my mom. But my mom was like, I really want to go to Costa Rica for
Again.
Christmas break again and visit. And my cousins couldn't come this time, but they were obviously, our friends were still there, and they were offering like, yeah, you can come. Um, and so my dad stayed back in Charlotte, but me and my sister and my mom were gonna fly down to Costa Rica, and I did not want to go. I remember like, I kept telling her I don't want to go. Like, I just had this really weird feeling. I thought we were gonna get kidnapped.
Oh,
which,
because it's just the
because
three of
it's
you?
just the three
Okay.
of us, and we've traveled just the three of us before to Europe all
Sure.
the time, but like Costa Rica is just a little bit different, and I was just scared and I didn't want to go. And our passports had to be renewed, and so we were scared that our passports were going to come in on time, and they came like the day before our flight. And I was like, this is like, I mean, I guess we're going to go. And so we went, and the first like 3 or 4 days we were actually staying in like the what's called rainforest. We
Mm-hmm.
were camping in like these little like huts basically. It was really fun. The food was so authentic, and like there were these horses that you could just ride, and it was just so like rugged almost. And we would hike every day, and we'd come back, and there were so many bugs, and there was only one bed that had like a net covering. So me and my sister and my mom all piled into this one bed because it was the only one with the net covering. It could protect us from all the mosquitoes. And so we did that, and that was really fun and really bonding. My mom kept telling me, she's like, let's do a semester abroad here. Like, I want to come back. I want to stay here like
Wow.
for as long
She
as we
does love this
can.
spot.
She
Mhm.
really loved it. And I kept arguing no, because I had just started at Latin.
Oh,
And the like
yes.
spirit of Latin is like, do the work, climb to the top sort of thing. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like actually, but like
Yes.
that was how
The
I was
unspoken. Yeah,
internalizing it.
100, 100.
And so I was like, no, like I have to go back to school. I'm gonna get so behind. I can't do a year abroad. Like, and we got into such a big argument about it. And I thought that I was so smart with all my reasons about why I couldn't go study abroad. And I would do anything to do that now. Like, I genuinely, like, I regret so much that I had that argument with her, and I wish that I had just agreed. But so we got in a fight about that, but we obviously resolved it. And I remember driving back to Nassau. It was a pretty far drive. It was like maybe 5 hours. But on the way, we passed the hospital. And I was like, wow, the hospital's really far from Nassau. Like, if something happens, like, I just remember noting how far it was from where we were staying. I was like, this is kind of scary. But we kept driving, and we got there eventually. And I remember Christmas Day, it was so hot that we didn't want to go to the beach, and we'd been taking like surfing lessons and stuff. That was actually how my mom convinced me to go back. She was like, well, you get to surf every day. And I was like, oh my gosh, like so exciting, whatever. But but yeah, so we'd been surfing every day, and that one day though, it was so hot that we were like, we can't go outside. And so we decided to stay at our friend's house. And then we were watching like Gilmore Girls. I was like, we were so engrossed in Gilmore Girls.
Yeah,
And I remember my
that was
mom,
COVID big time.
she called my dad for like 3 hours that day or something crazy. And I just remember like we got to spend a lot of time together on that day. And my mom made a soup. It was like a kimchi kind of soup. It was like really flavorful. And our friends' parents, they had like a dinner to get to. So they went off to dinner with their like neighbors or something, but they were like maybe a 30-minute drive from where we were staying.
Okay.
Also, I remember I forgot to add in. I remember we did yoga that morning too, and like that was something that was really like special. Like why yoga is so special to me, because something I would do with my mom. But anyways, so it was me, my sister, my mom, and then their 2 kids, which were one of the girls is my sister's age, and then their son is like a couple years younger. So my sister was like 10 at the time.
Okay.
And their son was like 8 maybe. But so the 4 of us kids and my mom, we were staying inside, and the sun was starting to go down a little, so it's cooling off. And I remember my mom was like, let's go to this beach for like a sunset kind of swim.
Yeah.
So we go off to the beach, and it's me, my sister, and our friend. We were in the water, and we were walking out, and I remember feeling like, oh well, I was just jumping over the waves. You know the game where you just like jump over the waves?
Yeah.
And and we kept going further out, and my sister kept saying, like, "Let's go back, let's go back." And I was like, "No, like, we don't need to go back, like, it's fine, like, you're being lame, like, it's fine." And she's like, "No, like, I wanna go back." And she started, like, repeating that. But I didn't listen, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Alright, fine, let's go back." But then I felt that we physically couldn't go back because, a riptide had taken me and my sister out. And so, we were taken out by the waves, the sun was starting to set, and obviously, like, I even at 12 years old, I knew at the time, like, you're not supposed to fight against the current because, like, everything that we've
Mhm.
ever been taught, you're supposed to go with the current and let it take you. But, like, in the actual moment, like, you're just so overwhelmed and, like, your brain just kinda goes to, like, survival mode that,
Mm.
like, that's just what you try to do, you try to swim. And I remember my sister grabbed onto me, and I was like, "I can't hold both of us up." Like,
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
barely able to hold myself up, and the waves start crashing over, and, like, it's you can feel it just, like, pulling you back and under, and it just got so violent, and so we're screaming for help. There's no lifeguards because it's Costa Rica. All the people there are locals, and so they don't really speak a lot of English, but we remember screaming for help, and my mom, she immediately just, like, jumped into the water out to get us, and she swam over to us, and I remember she told me to just fight like, try to get to shore, and she's like, "I'll stay back with Maya," who's my sister. So she and Maya stayed out, and me and my friend, we start swimming back, and, like, in that moment, it's just pure adrenaline, like, I don't know how I was able to get out, but I just remember just swimming as hard as I could, and we made it to shore, and I remember she went off to try to, like, get the locals to see if anybody could try to get
Your friend did?
my friend, yeah, and her brother was just on the beach, we made him just stay, but my sister and my mom were still out there, and the sun was starting to set, and it was starting to get kinda darker, so I remember I was trying to call my dad, which was probably not the first person I should have tried to call in that instance, but I was trying to call my dad, and then she was trying to call her parents and get help. So her parents eventually came, like, 30 minutes later, but the timeline of everything gets kind of blurry for me. I don't know how much longer my mom and sister were out there than me, but my sister, some surfer guys, they found her. They brought her back, and she was, like, kind of scratched up from, like, rocks, I guess, that she and my mom had hit, and so they'd been separated, but they found my sister, and I remember we just sat on the beach, and we were just, like, sitting there and just waiting, and, like, there's nothing you can do, like, I think they got the, what's it called? The embassy, the US embassy, like, got, like, a drone or helicopter or something to try to find, but it was, like, almost pitch black at this point, like,
Oh my gosh.
um, and, I mean, my sister and I haven't really talked about it just because it's like, we each had our own experiences, but we haven't really talked about it, but we were taken to, like, some random person's house, I don't even know whose, and we were just waiting, and we get back to, um our friend's house, and that night, like, it was just such a blur, but I remember that, like, all the adults asking for, like, papers and documents and passports and IDs and just all of us at once, and it was just really overwhelming, but they told us that they found her and that she was breathing and it was fine, like, that she was responding. They're like, "We're taking her to the hospital." And then my aunt flew in the morning, but she didn't say anything to us. And we asked to visit my mom. She's like, "No, we can't yet." But then my dad came in that night, and I remember, like, when he walked through that door, like, we all just knew that, like, my mom had passed away. And I mean, she hadn't been she when they found her, it was already too late. Like, they couldn't have done anything. Um, but yeah, so she passed away, and then we obviously went back to Charlotte, and then people came down. It was during COVID still, so, like, we couldn't have a lot of family come to the funeral. But, like, my great-grandparents came back down, my grandparents, my aunt, uncle, cousin, and they, like, filmed the funeral, for everybody else, and we actually her funeral's on New Year's, so it's a great way to start the year, but yeah, so that's just what happened with that, and obviously, it's not a very common story because it's just so, like, random almost, like, the chances are so slim, um, and I feel like it's hard to, like, connect with people with that just because it is so unexpected.
God, my heart was beating so fast through all of that.
I know, same.
And then I was waiting to hear because I was like, I, from the beginning of the story to the end, I didn't know
Yeah.
what you were going to say about how you actually ended up losing your mom. First of all, I'm so sorry. And then, like, you being willing to share that. Thank you for like recounting that for us. And
Mhm.
have you told that story a bunch of times? Because it's
Yeah.
fascinating to watch you even and experience this with you and the details you're willing to share and your perspective and all of that. But how you and your sister, like what when your dad walked in and you said you knew, I mean, did you guys just break down? I mean, what
Yeah.
happened at that
I mean,
time?
it was like, 'cause it was me, my aunt, and my sister. We were in the room, and he walked through the door. And, like, I mean, in the moment, like, I don't know how we knew, but, like, just based on his face, like, as soon as he saw us, like, he started crying, I think.
Yeah.
And, like, my dad, like, I don't know if you've ever met him, but
No, I haven't.
he's very, like, tough bro, like, kinda
Okay.
guy, like, I don't know how to explain it, but, he just, like but when like, I haven't seen him cry that much, but when I saw him cry, like, I think that's the moment that we knew, and obviously the questions came, like, later, like, was she actually alive when they said she was? And
Right.
the answer to that was no, because they told me, they're like, "Oh, yeah, they were doing CPR, and, like, water was coming out of her," but apparently that was just, like, the body's response, it wasn't actually, like, her. Um, and so, like, we asked our questions after, like, "How could this, like, be?" Like, whatever, but, like, in that moment, I just remember, like, not truly, like, understanding, like, the finality of it, but at the same
Sure.
time, like, still, like, like, it was just so many emotions at once, like, I can't even, like, trying to think back to it, I can't even describe it because it's
Oh, I would
just
think.
so much happening at once.
Yeah.
But, it was really hard, especially because, like, I didn't know a lot of people at school, so and, like, the people from my old school is even smaller than Latin, and so, like, I had a couple of close friends, but because I'd switched to Latin, I was kind of distancing from them, um, and so it was hard for me to, like, know who to talk to about it because nobody was really, like, there, I guess, like, my age, and I mean, my family was obviously, like, amazing about everything, but, like, when it comes to, like, telling the story, like, over the past couple years, like, I've told it to, like, my friends and, um, like, the adults in my life, like, my college resume,
Sure.
what's it called?
Your
Called
essay?
the essay writers, yeah, like,
Yeah.
come I've become a lot more comfortable telling the story, and I honestly I like telling the story just because, like, it's a way for me to, like, kinda share what's happened when it's not something you'd really expect, um, and I feel like it's just I mean, it's a big part of who I am, and not a lot of people know about it, so,
Right.
I totally understand that what you're saying about um it getting easier the more
mhm,
and more you like I had a really traumatic childhood, and so sometimes whenever I'm telling people that, it comes off a little bit like I don't necessarily care, but,
yeah,
like, no, it is it held me at some point, like, it, like, held on tight to me, and every time I tell someone else, like, maybe it's helping someone and it, like, releases this grip on me, and so it's very
Hmm.
healing
yes,
to
I
to
agree,
say it, to process out loud, for people to know, for it not to be something that you're just pushing down in your chest, so I completely understand.
yeah,
Wow. And so obviously this is a big part of who you are. And like there had to have been, and you're so young too. So you're even just learning how to feel new things like
Right.
mhm,
seventh grade. I mean, that's just life no matter what has happened to you.
Yes.
And then you're also figuring out how to grieve and what of this is actually grieving and what of this is just maturing and adolescence
Mhm.
and this blend of all of this stuff. And it's already so confusing emotionally. I mean, do you remember big benchmarks along the way or big moments of grieving where you thought like I've moved to another thing or this was a first or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's so much to navigate
yeah.
in middle school and early high school and then to throw losing your mom in there.
I mean, it was really hard, like, I feel like it's hard for me to remember even,
Sure.
which is kinda crazy because it wasn't that long ago, but, yeah, I mean, that first year, like, I didn't go in the water, like, in the ocean, and
Yeah,
I
that
feel
makes
like it was
sense.
more out of, like I wasn't scared, I wouldn't say I was like, I have a fear of the ocean now, I think it was more, like, out of respect, I guess,
Huh.
like,
Mm.
I felt like I couldn't, like, if I went in the ocean and I had fun in the ocean, it was, like,
Oh,
disrespecting
wow.
her.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
And
I
so, like,
get
when we
that.
went to Kiowa with our cousins that summer, like, of 2021, like, I remember we just, like, didn't go on the beach because we just didn't wanna like, me and my sister both, we just I don't know why she didn't go, but for me, it was out of, like, not wanting to disrespect,
Interesting.
what had happened, and I felt like I couldn't like, wasn't allowed to. And obviously, like, trying I feel like the first couple months, like, when I would have, like, happy moments, I'd feel, like, guilty about it,
Hmm.
Mm.
just because, like, you feel like you can't like, how could I have
Right. How could I be
fun
How
like
could
happy? I've
I
that?
be
lost my
Right.
happy?
mom.
Yeah.
And then also, like, I feel like because, like, the nature of how unexpected my loss was, I feel like almost when I look back on it, it wasn't me. Like, I don't know. It's something I'm
yeah.
still trying to process, like, in a way, because I feel like when I look back on it, it's almost as if I'm looking back on like somebody else's story.
Mm.
And so then when I'm like trying to grieve that, it's almost like as if, oh, maybe one day my mom's still gonna walk through the door. Like, it's something weird
Wow.
like that where I feel like I haven't really maybe reached the closure. And I don't know if I ever will, because
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
I've grown so much from it and I've been able to process it so much more now, and like how much it's changed me. But also at the same time, like there's almost like there's either two lives going on here, like a before and an after, because my life now is so much more different than when it was before.
Certainly.
And so I don't know if it's like I'm leading like parallel lives. Like, it's just like really weird when I try to like process it and like actually think about it. And I feel like maybe I haven't even thought about it enough, because like it's just such a big thing to happen that it's like hard to truly ever process. But yeah, I feel like when it comes to telling people, like, I mean, I remember in like 7th and 8th grade, like I had like a
I was
therapist.
gonna ask if you had any help learning how
Yeah.
to grieve this.
Kindermoren's organization that I still like volunteer with, just because they did so much for me. That was online too because of COVID, which might have detracted from it a little bit, but all three of us had like our own separate therapies.
Meaning your dad, your sister, and
Yeah,
yourself?
exactly. We had our own therapy like sessions, individual, I guess.
Yeah.
And that was helpful, but also it's hard because like when you're in that position, like you almost don't want to like get over it, because then you feel like as if it's
Oh,
like the
yeah, I don't wanna
disrespect
forget
thing
this. I
again,
don't wanna
right?
forget
Like
You don't
her.
wanna
it was
close the
Move past
store.
her.
exactly
Yeah.
like it felt like almost I was trying to like get rid of that part of me. And so that was challenging too, like trying to balance like growth and healing, and also at the same time like trying to remember and like keep her memory strong, and um not just like wipe it from like not even like even like the incident itself. Like I don't want to forget that because it was such a big
Mhm.
deal. Um but yeah, so that was something that we all did for I think like a year and a half or 2 years. But by the
Okay.
time I got to high school, that kind of faded.
Okay. But
But
it
I
sounds like
still
from the
work
way
with
you're
them.
speaking about this, oh, you're still working with
Well,
Kindermore?
like on the volunteer side right
Very
now. Like
cool.
I
Very
started,
cool.
I don't know if Whitney told you about this, but I started a creative arts support group where I would try to meet kind of students for student style with other teens trying to deal with grief.
Yeah, who have
Which is
experienced
a
loss.
whole nother level than students for students.
Can't
I
even oh
thought
my
that it would
gosh,
be
I
like,
can't even
oh, we
imagine.
walk in, do
Yeah, it's just
question
horizontal.
cup, and it's
No,
fine.
that's different.
Not the same thing,
Yeah, I would
because
think
there are a
not.
lot more. It's from people from all different schools, different ages, like from 9th through 12th grade, and they're experiencing very different things. And it's hard to like really find that one thing that's bringing us all. Like, I mean, obviously,
Other than the
grief is bringing
loss.
us together, but it's
Yeah.
hard to like try to connect with one another, because some people are more
Mhm.
closed off than others, and
Yeah.
more reluctant to speak. And that was something that I experimented with last year, in the winter, and I had a couple sessions with that. And then over the summer, I volunteered with them again and did like a summer camp sort of thing,
Hmm.
and that was really fun because I worked with younger kids, which is
Mhm.
it's so sad because like they're all going through their own losses, but they're all there together, and like it was on a farm, and so we would like it was just fun to like hang out with them and talk with them, especially because like some of them have like crazy stories, and like they're processing it so differently than I did because they're so young. Like this 8-year-old
Mhm.
told me she saw ghosts, and I genuinely had no idea what to tell her in that
Right.
moment. I was like,
Yeah.
"So did you tell your therapist that?" Like,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Yeah, like she knows all about it. I draw them for her." I was like, "Okay, so we're
Okay,
good.
good.
Okay.
So we're good. I don't need to do anything here."
Right, right.
But yeah, so like, it's just been like really interesting to be on both the receiving end of therapy and also on like the volunteering side of it.
Mhm.
But yeah, so kindergarten was a really big part of my life then, and I've tried to keep it in my life now. But yeah.
But it's interesting because you've alluded to this a couple of times, like how you haven't spoken to your sister about, her
Mhm.
experience in that at all. And you all had therapy, like you mentioned, but it's all separate. And so you've all been mourning it, like,
Yeah.
almost
On
differently.
your own, yeah.
And so there were never any sessions with all three of you
Mm-mm.
together. That's so fascinating. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
how has there been many conversations as a family about you losing your mom?
Honestly, not many,
Yeah,
which I feel like more so in the beginning just because it was
sure.
so fresh and new. But like I feel like my mom was one who really like fostered like conversations with all
Sure,
of us, and
sure.
like the
Mhm.
person that like make us sit down for like family dinner and like go through all that.
Right.
And obviously my sister and I, we've gotten older, more busy, our schedules and stuff, um but yeah, we haven't really like sat down and really talked about a lot of these things, which
Yeah.
I feel like I mean we're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
have
it's
to
coming. Yeah,
Yeah,
eventually.
it'll
eventually.
happen.
Yeah.
Um But yeah, so
But it's
that's
yeah, I'm just thinking, just people mourn so
yeah.
differently,
Sure.
and it when those days come and you all begin
Mhm.
processing this together about how you all experience it, it will be, I imagine, it will be amazing to hear and be there and support one another in the ways that you all, experienced it so differently. Um, golly, and it's so we've had several people on this podcast, and even one person that we've mentioned, Walker Somerville. I'm beginning to think that perhaps one of the things that makes your group special, and I wonder if it's just something that makes people special. Because I think about Whitney, I
Mhm.
think about we had Dr. Samantha Martinez on the
Mhm.
Actually,
podcast.
she's with Kindermore, where
Y-
she was working
Yes, she
as a
talked
Yes,
about it.
volunteer at Kindermore at the
yes,
same camp that I was, and
yeah.
I was like, we were just talking, and I mentioned students for students, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I literally work with 4 students," and I texted Whitney immediately. He's like, "You would not believe who I just met here."
It's yeah,
I
But
love
yeah,
and
that
she lost
connection.
her mom, and then
mhm,
through Camp
Yep.
Kesem, it was a camp experience for her that helped her mourn that. And I'm just thinking about these unbelievably remarkable individuals I
Mhm.
know. And I don't wish tragedy, obviously,
yeah,
on anyone, but it's fascinating what loss does as
Mhm.
far as your perspective and your priorities, and perhaps even an openness to other people and a compassion or an empathy. I mean, does that ring true with you as I'm
yeah.
saying that?
No, I definitely agree. I mean, like all the people you've already mentioned, like I just feel like when you go through something that's, like, really challenging, like, that not even things that, like, not a lot of people can really understand, like, it
Mhm.
just changes the way that you, like, see the world, and I mean, I know
Yeah.
this is really, like, cliche, but it's true, like, I just feel like it makes it there because there's so many, like, highs and lows, like, there are weeks that go by where I don't even think about, like, my loss or grief or anything, and then for me, it manifests, like, on, like, one day, I'll just have a really bad day, and it'll just
Yeah.
kinda spiral, and, like, everything just kind of everything that I could think of that has gone wrong or will go wrong, like, kind of just spirals for me on those days. But in general, like, I feel like because, like, I'm so prone to having I don't I'm not I mean, I'm not I wouldn't say I'm prone to it, but because, like, I go through these, like, emotional changes and whatever, like, I never know what's gonna come for me, and I never know
Mhm.
what's gonna I feel like it just makes me wanna be, like, more present, I guess, and,
Hmm.
like, when I'm having those good days, like, really appreciating those good days, and when I'm having those bad days, like, really see, like, why am I having a bad day, and, like, it makes
Mhm.
me more introspective, I guess,
Mhm.
and I feel like also, like, empathetic towards other people because you never know when somebody's having that bad
You
day,
never
and
know.
Yeah, or
you
what
never know
they've
when
been
I'm having
through.
my bad
Yeah.
day, but yeah, so I feel like I mean, all those people you said before, like, they've all gone through tragedies and really difficult circumstances, and yet they're some of the most empathetic people I know, and it's
Yes.
Right.
because you have to be, like, aware to other people's issues
When you have your
when
own,
you have
yeah.
your own like that, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems to be like almost a hallmark of
Mhm.
these people, certainly these people's
For
lives,
sure,
and
yeah.
lots of stories that I've heard. And it doesn't always go that way, right? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, loss can drive people into very dark places for long, long periods of time, and it's
Mhm.
hard to climb out of those spaces. In fact, Whitney, I don't know if she's ever told you, she even had someone who knew people and had worked with families who had lost children to suicide. And I think we talked about it in that episode and just kind of predicted, just so you know, here are the statistics around alcoholism, divorce, around all of these
Mhm.
things that usually are associated with this. So, I mean, when people lose people that are incredibly important to them, it can do a variety of things. But I'm always amazed when people come out on the other side with this desire
Mhm.
to bring and help facilitate good in other people's lives. And that's obviously true of you. And it's funny, Dr. Amanda McGow is also someone who's on our advisory board, and she's
Yes.
the one that came and did, our oars training at your school, and she's just incredible, and she did that night, when we were grieving Parker, a student who
Mhm.
lost his life to suicide here in Charlotte. And, I just remember something she said one time. It was this I think it's the only time we've done specifically a grief event at a high school, and it happened to be at your school, and it was years ago, and it was shortly after the loss of Tyler. It was several parents had gotten divorced in that class. There were like some loss of siblings to cancer. There was
Mhm.
lots of loss. And they asked if we would come and do an event on grief. And so we asked Dr. McGow if I could, if she would come and I could interview her in front of the students and give some, any types of tools or, awarenesses that would be helpful. And I just remember this thing that she said. She said that because she lost one of her closest friends, her best friend, to suicide. And she said, um, the loss never, like, it's not like this loss ever gets lighter as far as, like, it's the weight of it on you and your life. It's just that over time you find ways to become stronger. Like, you end up almost just you carry it a little bit. It's not as hard to carry as it was, but it's always gonna be heavy. I don't know, and that just seemed to ring true for
Yeah.
me and for a lot of people that I've talked to that have experienced loss. And so how have you continued to get stronger then? I mean, is helping people part of that?
I
Obviously,
think
you're
so.
healing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like a lot of the clubs that I try to get myself involved in are community-based clubs and like the
Mhm.
service I do outside of school as well. Just because I feel like it's a way for me to like help other people like transitioning into high school, which is something that's maybe not the easiest for some people, or like students for students like within grade or between grade levels, like facilitating those connections and stuff. Like I really appreciate being part of those clubs because I've been in a place where I felt maybe isolated or like alone.
Mhm.
Um just because I felt like nobody could understand my situation. And even though I
Sure.
Yeah.
had friends and stuff, like I
Yeah.
said, Latin's one of the
Yeah.
most welcoming places for that. I just felt like there wasn't a lot of there weren't a lot of places for me to like, explain like my situation, and so that's why I love Students for Students because it gives a place for that.
Mhm.
And why I've stayed involved with it because there's so many people that have all these things that are happening to them and nobody would ever know.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's been one thing that, I mean, like you said, doesn't really lighten the load, but it
Sure.
helps me like process it for myself. Um, and just think of like, better coping mechanisms or
Mhm.
ways to just kind of make the days be a little bit easier. And then also, like I said, like I love reading and writing. And so
Mm.
I feel like maybe less so now, but towards the like end of middle school slash beginning of high school, like 8th, ninth, 10th grade, like I would love to I don't really journal. I've tried that. Wesley has tried to make me journal. I
Wesley,
can't.
another amazing person.
She journals like literally every day.
That's
It's
amazing.
incredible. She's like books of journals. But anyways, back to the point. I don't really like to journal just because it just feels weird to me. But I like poetry and
Mm.
I like we've had assignments in class where it's been like memoirs and like reflections like I don't know if you read the book, The Things They Carried. It's about
Yes, by
you
Tim
have?
O'Brien
Yes.
from
Okay.
Vietnam. It's
So we
incredible.
had a
I love that book.
instead of a like literary analysis last year, we had like a reflection. So you could either write the things they carried, um, type of thing, but like things that like you carry, or you could write a true survival. Like one of the chapters in it is called a true survival story. So I did the true survival story route because I literally had like I mean I would consider that like surviving at that
Yes,
point.
Mhm.
100.
And so I talked about my story with like everything that happened to my mom, but it was supposed to be creative, so you're supposed to use like, like all these figure devices, and it just made me it allowed me to take that like really difficult moment and, write something that was, more creative with it.
Yeah.
But obviously held true to the actual story. And that's like one of my favorite pieces that I've written. And I don't think I would have written something like that on my own. But because of the assignment, I felt really comfortable with my teacher.
Mhm.
And like I said, I don't feel uncomfortable telling my story by
Sure.
now. But yeah, so that was really fun to do. And so just things like that creativity and whatnot.
Outlets.
Yeah, outlets have helped me a lot.
I think one of the last questions
Mhm.
I wanna talk about this, and then we'll kinda wrap this up because I kinda wanna
Okay.
hear what's next for you. And I don't wanna rush this. I feel like there's so many questions I have. Your number one, again, just thank you for sharing this. Like, it has
Yeah.
been such a gift to sit with you, and I'll excuse me. Um, but there are people listening who are today is a dark day, right? It's like
Yeah.
you've said, and grief is interesting that way. It'll
Mhm.
just sneak up on you. You think like, oh, good, I'm starting to move past this. And you hear something, you read something, you see something, you hear a song, a smell.
Mhm.
It can be a variety of things. And things come rushing back. And as you said, you can find yourself spiraling. How do you remind yourself that that spiral will end? You know what I mean? That that day
Yeah.
won't be forever. And I guess because I'm just, people sometimes will think, "Oh god, like I thought I was past this," or
Mhm.
they haven't even experienced that first stretch of health or maybe beginning to find joy again or hope again. Um, yeah, how do you or is there anything you would say that's helped you in these days when you're spiraling that help you remember the sun will rise tomorrow, like it can be a better day tomorrow?
I mean, this is me. I don't even know if this is the best like advice. This is just like how I've kind of handled it, and maybe this is me avoiding the like root issues too much, but like
Maybe.
honestly, like I mean, less so now than I used to. I used to, like, love to run, when
Yeah.
and I would run so much, like, in the beginning of high school slash, like, end of middle school, but, I kinda stopped that, but, like I said, like, all the outlets, like yoga, for example, like,
Mhm.
that's been one thing that's, like, really helped me, like, cheer me up, or going on a walk, and I know those are cliche, but honestly, like, those days where I'm really just, like, upset or, like, not having a day, it's normally at night when I'm, like, alone in my
Yes,
room, and it's,
yes,
like,
yes, yes.
if it's during the day, like, it's kinda easier to get over because I don't really let myself overthink it too much, but,
Sure.
like, when I'm in my room and I'm in the shower and I just start thinking about all these things, like, and I start to spiral, um, it's really, like, hard to just, like, stop thinking about it. But I'll normally just, like, I like to listen to music, that's one
Mhm.
thing, and, like, wallowing, I don't know, like, listening to sad music, like, I don't listen to happy music, but for some reason, like, listening to sad music helps me feel better.
Interesting, yeah.
Um, and then also, like, honestly, this is a lot harder to do like, than it is to say, but, like, I'll even, like, call a friend, like, talk to them about it because, like, I mean, like I said, Wesley, she's, like, one of my best
Yes.
friends, and she's really empathetic when it comes to these sort of things and just offers great advice, and she'll just, like, talk through it with me,
I
and,
love
like,
it.
sometimes she doesn't even say anything, but she just lets me talk. Um, and, like, people like her have just, like, I have a couple friends like that who I know I can just call when I'm really just down on myself, and sometimes I don't even wanna call
Yes.
anybody, and I just wanna just lay in my bed, and sometimes I just have to sleep and wake up the next day.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
that was advice that I was like, maybe it's not the best advice because like, sleeping it off doesn't always work,
Sure.
obviously, but for me, it kind of does when it just is at a point where I just don't wanna talk to anybody about it. But, yeah, definitely, like, reaching out to friends, which I used to not wanna do that, which is why I was saying it's, like, easier said than done because like, when I was younger, I feel like I didn't have those close of connections with people because over the past, like, 4 or 5 years, obviously, I've gotten to know all these my friends at Latin, like, so much
Mhm.
better. Um, but yeah, and then also, like, ranting in the notes app too. That's helped. Like,
Oh, just like
even though
yeah,
I don't
that's
journal,
journaling, sounds like it.
ranting in the notes app is another thing when I don't feel like talking to people.
I love that. Tell me this, when you put on the really sad songs, do you just lay in your bed and just, like,
Yeah,
bawl and just
literally.
just cry your
Yes.
eyes out?
Yes,
It's
literally.
funny, do you guys
Crying
watch
is cathartic,
Shrinking?
man. Yes.
Have you
Wait,
seen the show Shrinking?
no.
It's a show with Harrison Ford,
It's
and I'm
so
trying to
good.
remember.
I've, like, seen it on the screen, but I've
Yeah,
never watched
Jason
it.
Segel.
Yeah.
yeah, Jason Segel. I couldn't
Yeah.
remember his name. And then what is the black woman's, like, her name, her character is so funny. Oh my gosh, I wish I knew this actor's name.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I think this is her
it's a group of
first.
therapists, and it's all their interactions. But one of the therapists has lost his wife, and then a lot of it centers around him and his relationship with his daughter. And then Harrison Ford plays the chief therapist, like kind of maybe the owner of the practice or whatever. And he is actually, throughout the show, decides, like, the daughter decides she wants to start seeing her dad's, like, coworker, basically, and that's one of the things he recommends to her. I'd
Just
never heard
sitting
of
and
that.
crying?
Yes, like, to put on the saddest song, the song
Yeah.
that reminds you of your mom the
Yeah,
most,
that's
and
literally what
just
I
sit
do.
and just and don't stop yourself from feeling the things.
No.
Let yourself feel everything and just bawl it out. And I was like, that sounds like horrible advice, but
I know
maybe it's great
when I was about to
advice.
say that, I was like, I don't know if this is advice they that's
No,
why
it
I, like,
sounds great.
started it
I
with, like
always feel
so
better
there
after I cry.
yeah, I was like,
Yes.
so there are, like, the coping mechanisms, but also sometimes I just need to cry, like
Yeah. And I
Yes.
think a part of it is like, we don't know what to do with this discomfort of when we're feeling all of these things,
Mhm.
and we don't want to feel them, but sometimes we just need to feel all of the things and just sit there under the weight of it, just this dump truck of weight on us, and just lay there and suffer underneath it and bawl it out, and then maybe it's helpful. I
Yeah.
don't know. I definitely feel better after I've just, like,
It
bawled and
is
ugly
helpful.
cried. But yeah, I'm thankfully, like you, I will go for a run, or I'll do a really, really hard workout where I feel like I'm gonna
Yeah.
die, and I'll oftentimes feel better afterwards. But oh, I don't know. Thank you so much for sharing, like, the stuff that's been helpful for you. Um, and I don't want to make a hard right turn, but, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, here you are, like, what's next for Jackie? I mean, this story, you're so empowered. You've helped so many people, you've run so many things. Now you're going to Chapel Hill. What are you going to study?
So at first I applied for nutrition under the, like, pre-med track,
Yeah.
and I got, like, I think they call it assured admission into the program because you normally apply junior year.
Okay.
So I got that, and then I applied for Honors Carolina, which is
Okay.
their honors college, and I I told them that I would double major in neuroscience and nutrition to be like all interdisciplinary. And
Wow.
honestly, my love for like neuroscience didn't really kick in until I listened to Huberman.
Huberman. I
I'm
knew
not
it.
even gonna lie. Like, I mean, I loved it last year when I was like in our biology class, and it's so interesting, but I never realized like how much of everything we do like relates back to neuroscience. And he
Mhm.
connects everything back to neuroscience.
Yes.
So like, I mean, I'm gonna hopefully apply for that junior year and see how that goes. But yeah, so neuroscience and nutrition, and then pre-med. I don't know exactly what I want to be yet, but
Dentist.
yeah, maybe not that. But not exactly what my dad's done.
Sure.
But yeah, and then I mean, I hope to get involved with a lot of things on campus.
Sure.
I'm
sure you
always
will.
like involved in things Latin, so I
Mhm.
feel like it'd be weird to just not be
Yeah,
involved
to just
anymore.
sit around, you wouldn't know what to do with
I
yourself.
wouldn't know
No,
what
I
to
think
do with all that
Not that you'll have,
time.
not that you're going to have a lot of time if you're doing nutrition
Yeah.
and
you'll
neuroscience.
find time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but because I'm sure the workload will be quite rigorous. Going
Yeah.
back real quick to the biology, and you said junior, did you have Dr. Gee?
I did.
He is
I did.
an
I love
amazing
Dr.
human
Gee.
being. And his
Yes.
son, like we had his son Evan on the podcast, like when it was first started. I think he
Mhm.
may be our first episode. Or I don't know, he's in there somewhere early on. But yeah, an amazing person. Shout out Dr. Gee. We love
Yeah.
you. Yeah, that's exciting. I'm so excited for you. And I'm so thankful that you were willing to come on here knowing, that I'm gonna just like, hey, tell us
Yeah.
your story, and I knew that you had lost your mom, but I had no idea how. And again, I'm just so thankful you're willing to share that. And someone heard that story and is
Mhm.
listening to this, and it is helpful for them. So
For sure.
yeah.
Keep sharing it.
Yeah, keep sharing
Thanks.
it. It
Thanks
helps
for
the people in
having
your
me.
groups. It's going to help the people who listen. So you're remarkable, Jackie. I'm glad I
Thank
know you
you.
a little bit better.
Thanks.
And thanks again for being on,
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
of course.